Hi, my name is Kijana Jordan, and I was falsely accused of a crime I didn't commit. I received a phone call from Kiki saying that my niece Kenyatta had been jumped. When she told me, I was like, you know, so part of me didn't really even want to get involved, to be honest, but I felt obligated. My brother was in prison at the time, which is the father of my niece, and, so I felt like I had to step up to the plate and do something. Like, I didn't really feel like I had a choice. And I asked my niece, I said, what did you do? What part did you play in this, And that's when she told me, she said, Auntie, I did talk some stuff to them a while back. She said, but today I didn't do nothing. They just started it with me. When Juicy came with her friend Rich, they were on bikes. The people lived not too far from Kiki. It was probably like about 5 blocks or something like that. When I went over there, I just got off the bike and I was like, calm. So I asked for D-Dot. I said, is D-Dot here? Some of her family was sitting out on the porch and stuff like that. And she came out and she was like, what's up, KJ? And I said, what's up? Like, what happened over here? Just like that. And she said, do you want to know their side of the story or my side of the story? She was being sarcastic and stuff. I didn't like what she was saying. And then at the end, she said, so what we gonna do? We just gonna stand here and talk about this? And that's when I punched her and knocked her out.
She slept her. Did.
I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, I didn't know that I was gonna do that, So I turned around and started trying to walk away. I kind of totally forgot that I even had a bike at the moment. When her family realized that she was knocked out, when they got over the shock, her brothers hopped up. He said, you sneaky bitch, you hit my sister. You could have said you wanted to fight. I looked, and then another guy hopped up and was like, you hit my baby mama. And I was trying to walk away, but they started following me. So I turned around and I was like, this is between me and her. This was a fair fight, basically telling them that it didn't have nothing to do with them. But they wasn't trying to hear that. So I just squared up and started fighting them too, because I didn't have a choice. And then more and more people kept coming out the house. I really didn't have much fight left in me. It was like if somebody would have hit me one more time, I probably would have been asleep, because at some point I started to see like black lines and fuzz in my head. So I stopped fighting, and then I just walked away. I never went to the hospital, and everybody was like, my mom was calling me, and family members and friends that had heard what happened, and they was like, you need to go to the hospital, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, nah, the area I come from, I've been in many fights, and I done been hit up my side my head many times. So I wasn't really worried about it. I was just like, I'm good, But people were calling me, friends, family members. They were messaging me on my Facebook saying, let's go back over there. Let's do this and do that. But to be honest with you, I was done with the situation. I didn't want to go back over there and do nothing. I didn't want anybody else to go back over there and do anything. I just wanted it to be over. A lot of people was blaming Kiki. They said it was her fault. She got you jumped and this and that, and why did she call you? They were mad at Kiki. I wasn't. I was just like, just leave it alone. I never once said anything like, oh, Kiki called me and she got me jumped and all this. Like, that was everybody else's perception of the situation.
What had happened that day was I was at school, and the previous night before there was a fight. So the next day when I went to school, I had my phone off because I think we were testing that day. So when I was able to turn my phone on at lunch, it was like a bunch of Facebook messages and posts. As they were telling me, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna let it go, because it was just little posts like, oh, we gonna catch you and beat you up. And I'm just like, you're not about to catch nothing. So I just turned on my phone and continued with my day. So after school, I had turned on my phone, and she was like, they were just, talking, and it just got worse and worse over time. So I got angry. So I hopped off the bus, I walked over there, because it wasn't that far from their house, so I just walked up. At the time, I was 14.
Did you start the fight?
No, I didn't start the fight, because they said that they wanted to fight.
Yes, I received a call from Kiki saying that the twins had got jumped. But by the time I got over there, KJ was there. And she was telling me who it was, and we ended up going over there. We rode bikes over there, so I didn't know exactly where the house was that we was going to, so I was just following her. And before I know it, by the time I was getting off the bike, she had to knock her out. By the time I get out, I see that happen. I get off the bike. Next thing I know, I look around the house. It's about 10, 12 people coming. They was coming. They running. I knew it was time in, but I didn't even have a chance to situate myself. I caught the first lick and it was on. We was fighting. It was somebody else with us. They had stopped down the street a little bit. And by the time they ran up, he was like, stop, you guys, we're outnumbered. Me and KJ fighting. Like, we can't stop. We got about 10 folks on the, what the hell, we finna stop folks. So we just fighting. He trying to break it up, talking about stop, we're outnumbered. Eventually they broke it on up and we walked away. Actually, we was laughing about it. Like, when it happened, it was kind of crazy, but KJ called me the next morning and she was like, sister, did we get beat up? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I think I got a concussion. She was like, yeah, I think I do too. But we just laughed about it. It wasn't nothing major. I do not think KJ was wrong for punching her. If I would have known that was her, I probably would have punched her too.
I was picking my daughter Kylie up from school, which went to school on the opposite side of town. Some kids from Franklin actually called me and told me that Black and Alizé, which is Black's friend, was at the bus stop waiting for my kids to get off the bus because they wanted to jump her. After the fight occurred, I was confronted saying that I was the reason why Kijana had got jumped, because it was my kids in question, and I'm the one that made the phone call.
So when everything was said and done, then she had called me and told me what was going on, and I was like, they jumped on you, the guys too? She said, yeah, the whole game like that. She said they jumped on me and Juice. I was like, I was really hot. I really just want to, this is the honor God the truth. I wish I would have had a Uzi, I'm not gonna lie. Because I was gonna go over there and blow their asses up, okay? That was my, but them be niggas hitting on my child.
The night of the shooting, a friend of mine named Jason called and said that they said KJ shot up D-Dot house. Kijana called me the day after the shooting, explaining to me to tell them that she did not shoot up their house. And I explained to her that it's not going to be that easy. I was angry and upset because everybody was coming to me telling me that it was my fault.
I was at home chilling, and some associates of mine called me up and was like, oh, come up to the bar, KJ. Come chill, and this, and that. So I go up to the bar and chill. The next thing you know, my mother called me, and she was like, something happened to those people over there, and they saying it's you. And I was like, what? And she was like, something happened to those people. And I was like, what people? She like, the people you got into it with. And I said, Mama, I don't know what them people talking about. I'm at the bar, I've been here all night, and I never left. And she said, well, just be careful because I don't know what's going on, but I don't want them coming to try to do something to you. So I was sitting in the house chilling, laying down actually, and I got a phone call from a private number. So I'm looking like, who could this be? So I answered the phone, and it was a man on the phone. He said, hello, may I speak to KJ? And I was like, this is KJ speaking. And he said, KJ, this is the Long Beach Police Department. We got your whole building surrounded. Come outside with your hands up. And I was like, okay. Like, I was just like stunned, you know? I just was like, okay, well, I gotta put on some clothes and then I'll come outside. When I first walked out, I didn't see nobody. I was looking like, is this a joke, you know? Until I looked downstairs and seen several guns pointing at me. And they was like, come down. And I was like walking down the stairs. I was like shook up because the only thing I could think of was all the stories that I hear about people making a wrong move and they shooting them or something, you know? So I was very nervous. So when I got downstairs, they told me, get on the ground, and they made me crawl on my knees. And it was weird because the guy, every time when I was crawling on my knees, every time I got closer to his feet, he kept backing up, saying, come on, like making me crawl on the floor, on the ground like I was a dog, basically. They took me downtown Long Beach and they was talking to me like, I'm pretty sure you know why we're here. So when we got downtown Long Beach to the police station, they took me into an interrogation room and was asking me all these questions like, did you know the people? Did you get in a fight with these people? And this, and that. And, you know, at that time, I didn't really know any better because, to be honest with you, I never really been in any trouble with the police outside of a traffic ticket or something like that. So I just was answering the questions like, yes, I had a fight with them. They was like, well, this is what you're under arrest for. You're under arrest for gang allegations, shooting into a dwelling, attempted murder, child endangerment, and threats. And I heard them, but I was still confused. I didn't realize like how much trouble I was really in, you know, because all I could think in my head was like, I didn't do this. And I was like, well, how much is the bail? Like, I was like trying to get out of there. Like, well, how much is the bail and stuff like that? Asking them type of questions. They made my bail $2 million.
The day of the shooting, I was at work, and I got in around 6:30. KJ came, I guess, about 7. I always come out of the kitchen, you know, go and see what's going on. And I always think she was there, you know, sitting in the middle of the bar. She was there that whole night that I was there.
This particular night, we had went to bed early, and I had got a phone call saying your daughter just went over there and shot them people's house up. I said, what is you talking about like that? You know, it's not. I said, and how you know it was my daughter? Because first of all, my daughter's at the bar at a party. You know, no, she not. She went over there and shot them people's house up. I was like, you know what? I don't have time to argue with y'all on the phone, okay? So then I hung up the phone, and then I called her. I was like, sweetie, are you still at the party? She said, yeah, Mom, I'm still at the bar. I was like, well, they just called talking about you went over there and shot the people's house up. She said, how can I be in 2 places at one time? I said, but I'm just gonna tell you one thing, sweetie. I said, I'm not trying to scare you or nothing, right? I said, if something happened to them people, they're gonna come for you. They ain't gonna say nobody else did it. They're gonna say you did it because you just had a fight with them.
So Kijana gave me this letter when she was 12 years old, so 25 years ago, and I've kept it all these years because it's very special to me. She wrote, Dear Miss Poissant, thanks for everything you have done for me this last 2 years. You have changed my life in a very big way. And it started the first, jeez. I haven't read this in a while, so it's touching my heart again. Well, you'll be my friend until I die. You're like another mother. Thanks for being my friend. This letter was written with sincere love and respect. Sincerely, Kijana. And a picture of her and her dad. She's very protective, and if somebody messed with her and her family, she would deal with it the way that the culture would deal with it. I'm sorry. I just feel like as a white person, you know, I always said I wasn't racist, but I discovered that I am in a way because I have never done anything to try to stop, you know, injustice. And now I feel a desire to do something, you know, and I've looked into grassroots programs where I can do something to help other women who are incarcerated wrongly. I mean, the statistics are unbelievable.
It was clear that she didn't do what she was charged with doing. It was just a question of how do we prove it. Early on, I went through the file with her and we talked about witnesses and who should I talk to, who should I reach out to. I had my investigator go out and try to find people, and a whole bunch of people that had told her that they were supporting her, whatever you need, I got you. Those people weren't returning phone calls. When they did return phone calls, they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just not very supportive at all, even though they were telling her, I got you, right? When I first read her case, I knew that they had charged the wrong person. I understood why they charged her, because they had witnesses saying, we saw her face, we know she did it. I said, well, they're wrong. They can't have seen what they said they saw. They just were making things up or things in their head. Well, it had to be her because she had just come over here. So who else could it be that's trying to shoot at us? They may be 100% certain about what they're saying, but they're 100% wrong. And let me show why they're 100% wrong. Thankfully, the case was dismissed prior to trial. There was a time where I had to warn her, look, we don't know what that jury's gonna do. We don't know what's gonna happen. If they convict you, this is the rest of your life. Maybe we should talk about a deal. And she was like, no, I don't want a deal. And I'm like, all right, then let's go. If the jury had convicted her and I hadn't asked for a deal on the front end, that would have been the rest of her life. Once people started helping, there were a lot of people who helped. The first person who actually came forward and said, yeah, no, I'll help, was Miss Joyce. There had been one DA on the case since before I got on it, and was on it the most of the time that I was there. And then that person got transferred unexpectedly, and a new DA came on to the case. And she reviewed everything with fresh eyes. And she called me and said, I don't think she did it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so she went through and said, I need this from you, I need that from you, get me this, get me that, so that I can talk to my boss about dismissing the case. So we did all those things, we got her all this stuff. She talked to her boss, and her boss said, yeah, you should dismiss it. And so we come to court, and she says, the people are dismissing, we're unable to proceed with the case. And the judge looked over at Kajana and said, well, Ms. Jardin, this case is dismissed, you will be released. And she thanked the judge, and she was so happy, and we were both happy. The district attorney asked for cell tower record. Your phone pings off of cell towers. And so the cell tower can tell where your phone is about. But more importantly for us, it can say where it's not. I was able to give her the information she needed. Then she and her cell phone tower people went and looked at all of that. And she came back and she said the phone wasn't over there. I had told her predecessor that the phone wasn't over there, that her predecessor didn't care. And so she was the best thing that ever happened to our case. If it hadn't been for her, we would have been in trial and rolling the dice and trying to figure out how it would have gone.
So it wasn't until like, well, about 3 months later, I ended up being arrested. And when I got arrested, that was my first priority when I got to the jail, was to find her. Basically, then when I found her was when we was able to talk, because I really didn't know all what had went on and when they came and got her and everything. So a lot of holidays passed on while we was over there. So when I got over there, it was just basically, shit, we here together, and like I just let her know whatever we gotta do, I'm just here to help you and get up out of here. It wasn't number one time, the whole time she cried. I would have to go in the bathroom and cry to keep from her seeing me. I'll break down. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a crybaby. But I'll go in the bathroom or out to the yard and cry to keep from her seeing me. She'll come up on me, what is you doing? I'm like, nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it was more, it was a struggle, like just being there and trying to be supportive, you know what I'm saying? And trying to be strong at the same time, because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna say I was worried about it. I had more faith in God, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't let her go down. Like, I just didn't see that happening. But it's like the more and more, like the longer it got real stressful, and I got worried. Yeah. Being in jail with a bunch of women, you're tested constantly. Like, it's hard to stay out of trouble, and having the mentality that we had just from coming off the street, it was real hard. When I know she fighting this case, so I know I have to be on my best behavior. I don't want to do nothing to contradict it, you know. Her favorite thing was to go to the bathroom and pray. So if I look through the window in the door and I see her up at the window, I knew she was praying. She mad, she upset. I'm like, oh fuck, what's wrong? A lot of people looked up to us in there, and for sure she got a lot of love in there. Like KJ got a lot of love in jail from not only inmates, deputies. We made the best of it though. Like, it was a long 18 months. KJ, the peacemaker, she keep the family together. KJ ain't never been no troublemaker. She our go-to when we need to get out of trouble, you know? So it was like, for somebody to not be there for her in the time of need was pretty messed up. And I felt like it wasn't nothing that I wouldn't do to keep her from going to jail.
I was going to visit my child, and that was the hurting part of life that I ever went through. I went through some hurtful things, but seeing her behind bars, that really just like killed me. Thank you.
Take your time.
So on my first visit to go visit her, when I stepped in there, then I said, I'm here to visit Kijana Jordan, and I had to like get myself together when I was walking down the hall. I said, shit, I can't let her see me breaking down because I know she already in bed. You know, her head is all over the place too, so I got to stay strong. But so when I got in there, and then she said, Mom, I don't belong here. I said, I know you did. When then we both started crying, and she was on the side of the glass, I was out the glass. I was like, oh my God. So again, when the visit was over, I was like, sweetie, just stay strong like that. Then I'm walking down her, like I'm just booing, you know. And I was like, shit, I'm glad I didn't see her really let her see break down. So I know it was a hurting feeling because I know my daughter didn't belong there, you know. She's not that type of person. You could say, well, you could say what your child do, but you don't know when your child get out your sight what they be doing. But I know what she wouldn't do that in my sight or out of my sight, you know what I'm saying? And I think I was going to get a money order to pay a bill or something, and then we was walking, they said, walked up to her and said, can we read your palm? She said, sure, like that. So they started reading. They was like, well, the circle you in, you need to kind of back up a little bit because then you're going to get in some kind of trouble like that, you know, hanging out with them people that you hang with like that. And then she was like, she was looking, and he said, can we? I said, no, like that. So I started running. I was like, nope, like that. But they did say, oh, somebody around you that don't love you. They was like, I was like, but shit, that was true. Because the people did give her, almost got her a life sentence. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they really meant no harm what they was doing. They was calling themselves having her back, but in the process of having her back, they was getting her put away for life. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was empty. It was really empty. And I was like, I need to go. So I think I went and visited her on Thanksgiving. Yeah, that holiday, yeah. Yeah, but it was just like a regular day because there wasn't nothing to, you know, I mean, Thanksgiving was something to celebrate because we were still alive. Everybody woke up that day. But it's nothing like when your family and kids and friends and stuff is around, you know what I'm saying? This is Kijana Jordan. This the life sentence case. And I was like, fuck, like, then it just like hit me like, they really trying to put my child away for her life, you know? No. She was kind of trying to keep her posture, but you could see in her face that it wasn't setting with it, you know? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I went looting. I really couldn't sleep. I didn't really sleep at all already, but when that happened, it wasn't really no sleeping. I ain't gonna lie, this might be funny. I was just thinking about going out and getting all this money that she had needed to get out of jail, just going robbing people. I'm not gonna lie. It was just, everything just was going, I was going crazy in my head. I was just all over the place. You know, I was just walking late at night and stuff. And I was like, you need to not be out here like that. You know, she gonna be all right, she coming. I was like, yeah, but fucking when? Like, you know, and then when we go back, they say something different. They don't throw something else. I was like, when the fuck is this gonna end? Because this is going too far. I really didn't want to be bothered with her, to be honest. I said, every time I seen her, I really wanted to hit her. I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, okay, if you get yourself in trouble, how you gonna be out here standing strong for your child that's locked up behind bars, fighting a life sentence? So I just stayed away from her. I just didn't want to be bothered with nobody, none of them.
I was upset, but I couldn't stand up in the court and say they lying because of the fact that if you do that, you ain't contempt of court, you can be put in jail or kicked out of the courtroom, and I really needed to be there to find out what was going on. And my wife went to visit her. I couldn't go because I had warrants at the time. They didn't really have evidence or proof that she was there, only hearsay evidence. And then with that, knowing that, I was like, she coming home. She didn't do it, you know?
It was really sad to see what her mom and dad was going through, but I was hurt too because I watched them grow up. You know, I watched KJ grow up and play basketball with my baby daddy. And, you know, it was hurtful for everybody. So we were all supporting each other, you know, because we all loved KJ and we knew that she wasn't guilty. So she was stuck with a PD, and I think the first one was like shady or whatever, and then she got a black lady, and the black lady, she was on point, you know. She was just a good person. She really cared about KJ, and she just did her job. So KJ finally had a lawyer that was there, you know, doing her job. Her parents were there. Every court date, you know, I came every time I could. Her brother was there.
She called me that morning, said, cousin, I need to talk to you. So I picked her up. We driving, hit a few corners talking. And she explained to me what happened with when they jumped her or whatever. So then she said something, she heard that somebody did some shooting and the police basically thinking it's her, which we all know she ain't like that. So I told her don't worry about it. So we get back here, and we talked for about 5 minutes. I tell her, look, go in the house and just stay your ass in the house. Don't come out. She leave. I'm pulling off. It's a truck on this side and a car down at the corner. And they got like the little visor in the window. And you can see them peeking through the side of the visor. So I told her, hey, the police out there. Probably about 20, 30 minutes later, I got a call saying they snatched her up. And I just told her, be cool. I mean, you ain't got shit to worry about. You go get out. I'm like, damn, we gotta see how much her bail is. But then when you see that bail and what the case was, the best thing is just make sure she comfortable. She gonna get out eventually. I was mad. I mean, we wanted her to get out, but ain't nothing we can do. But just keep her comfortable. She called, talk to her. She needs something, make sure she get it. Oh shit, everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. She was out, time to start over. You ain't gonna do nothing but come out bigger and better. I mean, look who she is, that's KJ. I mean, everybody knew she was gonna get out. I mean, that ain't her stilo. That ain't what she do. I mean. Let's hold that. They coming to get you again.
The judge came out and he was like, Keyjonna Jordan, like how they call your name and stuff. Is this a life case? And the prosecution said, yes, it is. And I was just numb at that moment, like a life case. And that judge said, should we proceed with an offer? And I'm like, proceed with an offer? This is my first court date. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all just ready to proceed with an offer. Like, that was crazy. And after that, they put me on the bus and I went to Linwood Women's Jail. They took me to the module with all the killers and gangbangers. So I walked in there and I was like, okay. Once they get you in there, there's no rush to get you out. So she said, oh, we got the tape. So I'm thinking I'm about to go home. Well, when I went to court that day, she pulled me in the back. She said, I got to talk to you. And I looked at her. I was like, yeah. And she said, the tape is no good. We can't see you. It's poor quality. And now we don't have anything to prove that you were at the bar. And I'll just start crying because I didn't know. And I was so angry. I was angry. So I went back to the jail and I cried the whole time on the bus. But I just was like, I'm not staying in this jail. And I prayed, I went to church, I went to school, I took anger management, life skills, art class, whatever I could do to just keep myself occupied. And I just made my way around jail. I talked to the deputies, and I always let them know, I'm not supposed to be in here. I'm in here for something I didn't do. And a lot of them knew. They could tell by my demeanor. After I found out that tape wasn't working, people was like, yeah, KJ, I got you. So I had money on my books and stuff, so I was able to call and reach out to people and ask them, hey, can you help me out? Can you come to court? Can you do this? They would always say, yeah, but a lot of people, 9 out of 10, didn't show up, honestly. We didn't have enough money to get a lawyer and didn't have enough money to bail me out. But my family was very supportive, my mom and my dad and some of my cousins and stuff. My mom came and visited me almost every weekend. It made me happy that she came, but I was like kind of teary-eyed because I didn't like people coming to see me like that in jail. Eventually, I heard that Juicy was in the jail, and I was like, what? I didn't even really know how to react. I was just more like in shock, like, okay, she here, so that was a blessing to me because she made my time much easier. Just having somebody to just be there. It's like you in there with nobody. You don't know these people. You don't know who gonna do what or say what, you know. So I felt a lot of relief, and she made it her point to just be there with me. And I knew, like, when she wasn't in the module with me, I knew that she was coming on Sundays, and we was gonna have lunch. She used to be like, sister, what you want? And I'd be like, I want some chow mein. And she used to get upset. She used to be like, sister, how is you doing this? And I used to be like, I don't know. And I sat her down and I talked to her about what was going on. And she was like, well, if don't nobody step up for you, I'll step up for you. I don't care what I gotta do. Ms. Dixon came to me and said, the DA asked me, have I talked to you about a deal? And I said, a deal? I was looking at Ms. Dixon crazy that day. She was like, wait a minute, don't look at me like that. And I was like, a deal? What kind of deal? And she was like, I don't know. She said something starting off in the double digits. And I was like, the double digits? And she was like, yeah, you know, like around 10 years or something like that. I was like, no, you can't give me a deal because I'm innocent. And also, the only thing I did is punch somebody, and I did all the time, way overtime for that. And I said, and I believe in God. And she looked at me and she was like, well, what if God said you got to stay in here for the rest of your life? And I looked at her, I said, well, that's just a chance I'm going to have to take, you know? So she was like, okay, well, then we go into trial. So we started prepping for trial, and she was very, like, when I was in there, I saw people who could never get in contact with their public defenders and stuff like that. She stayed in contact with me. She always answered my messages. She always came to sit down and talk about. And, you know, me and her became friends in that time because I used to talk to her about all type of stuff. We would laugh. And the original DA on my case was leaving, and I was so happy because I used to pray. I was like, God, please just soften this lady's heart, because she was evil. She used to look at me when I go in the courtroom. They said, who shot you? She said, KJ. And they said, can you see KJ in the room right now, in the court right now? And she said, yeah, that's her right there. And then they said, and then what did KJ do? And she said, then KJ pulled out her gun, and her gun got jammed. And she said, I said, KJ, I can see it now, all again now. I said, KJ, no, please don't shoot me. And I was just sitting there like, is this serious? Are you really serious? You just gonna write a book and put me in it? I know that was crazy to me, knowing that I wasn't there, you know? And they said, well, what did KJ do next? They said, she said, she let shots ring all out. So my public defender, I looked at him, I said, they are lying. He said, I know, but don't say anything because we got to make you look like Jesus right now. He said, but either they are lying or they're just highly mistaken. And he called for the case to be dismissed, and they said no. That lady sat up there and said, oh no, the judge, she said, I feel like she could possibly be found guilty in a jury trial. Right before I went to trial, the DAs got switched. I was happy. Ms. Dixon wasn't. She said, well, you know, the DAs got switched. And I said, yes. I prayed that wench off my case. And she was like, well, I don't know, because the other one was starting to soften up a little bit. And I wasn't worried about it. I was glad. But when you hear that public defenders and DAs and all that stuff, they socialize and make deals with people's lives and all this stuff, that stuff is true. Like 3 weeks before I was about to go to trial, Ms. Dixon popped up on her off day. It was a Friday, and they called me, Jordan, you got a visit. And I was like, they said, you have an attorney visit. And I was looking like, attorney visit? Like, why is she here on her off day, you know? So I went out and I sat down, and she looked at me and she said, well, I talked to the new DA. And I was like, okay. And she was like, she's very different from the last one. And I was like, okay. And she was like, she called me while I was watching a movie with my husband and said she looked at your case and thinks that you're innocent, and that she wouldn't be able to sleep at night if she put somebody away for the rest of their life for something they didn't do. So she asked me for X, Y, and Z. And eventually they checked my phone records. They talked to character references, because that was one of the things that the ideas that I came up with when I was doing my research on law and stuff, that I can have people come speak for me and say about my character. On March 12th, 2018, I went to court, and Ms. Dixon said, I got some good news. You about to get out of here. And I was like, what? Really? And the lady stepped up, the DA, she said, we are dismissing this case due to too much reasonable doubt and whatever else she said. And she said, it's over, like, this case is dismissed. And that was the first time I really broke down crying. Like, I cried a little bit here and there, but right then in that moment, I cried a lot, because I had been holding in so much stuff. The one thing was, I never got to speak for myself, you know? They didn't care what I had to say in the courtroom. They cared what everybody else had to say against me. It was never a time where I was able to just be like, oh, this happened, that's not true. No, I just had to sit and listen. Every time I went to that court, I was waving time. And okay, well, we need 3 more weeks, come back to court, and 4 more weeks, come back to court in 2 months. That's what they were doing. And then I got released, and here I am today. I made a deal with God that if he let me come home, I was gonna be forgiven to everybody who I felt wronged me. And it's not easy for me, you know what I mean? It's not. I'm not mad at anybody. I will always have questions in my head, but I made a promise to God. So, and my only revenge is success at this point. That's it. If something bad happens, that's not the end. If you still breathing, as long as you got life in you, you keep going. You don't be stuck there. When you decide to walk into something, you better be willing to take every consequence that's gonna come along with it, because one thing can change your life just like that. I never would have thought that going over there getting into a fight would have had me fighting life. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how simple it is, you know? So you just gotta be careful. You gotta fight for yourself, you know? And you gotta fight for the truth. Everything is next for me, because when you get in a situation where you know that your life can be taken away from you, it makes you think about all the stuff that you didn't do and all the stuff that you could have did. Even when it comes down to like food, like I'm just open and optimistic, and I just want to live my life and be successful and just be able to support myself and my family.
She was gonna get right back into life and do the things that she was doing. She got work immediately after being released, which doesn't happen to a lot of people.
When my auntie came home, I was excited. Honestly, I didn't really want to see her because I still felt guilty about the situation. I was nervous, but most of all, I was happy that she came home. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, my auntie's home. Like, what the hell? When I seen her, I was really excited. I was happy. I was so happy.
When Kijana came home, I was excited. I was glad that she was at home. But I was angry because of the post that was posted and what was said. Like basically, if you wasn't there for her when she was in jail, it's no reason for you to come around now. My relationship with KJ now is more so of me not wanting to come around her. It's not her reflecting any pain or saying pointing fingers or anything like that. And I'm about to cry because it's like sometimes I really be beating myself up for that because I still be thinking about the stuff that people said to me and she never said it to me. So I feel that she still look at me as a sister, but it's just like some things that we would never do together. I feel that we would never do together, or we would never be as close because this situation occurred. I feel like I really didn't have no control because I didn't have no control over my child. So it's not really everybody that's in question, it's really my child. And if I could have controlled my child and been there with my child, then everything would have been totally different. I really don't come around my baby daddy side of the family. It really hurts me because it's me, it's not them. In the inside, I just feel like because she really could have lost her life due to one of my kids' actions. And so I don't know, I just be like, just don't be one to come around. Because sometimes I feel like we don't have the same relationship, but once again, it's not her, it's me. Because we were really close at one point. She never been the type of person that be like aggressive. She's always been a family person. Like she keep the whole family together. If it wasn't for her, the kids, just like kids wouldn't know each other. I'm gonna just sum it up to say that it was not her. Now, being angry and we both did said some stuff, but not to that extent. When it comes to this situation, I just feel like because I don't have a lot of answers for her because what people gotta understand, it wasn't me personally. So it's like a lot of questions that I feel like I can't answer. And I feel like I can't tell my child because she is a child. She was a child at the moment. And yeah, she was just being high-headed. And I feel like the same respect that we have for D-Dot and them, I felt like they should have just had for me. That's it. I feel like if they considered us family, it should have been walking my daughter home and that type of not fighting, or call somebody and tell them to come pick her up, or even call my phone. You call me and harass me about anything else. So it was like, I don't know. For the 2 years that she was in jail, for sure, I was not myself. Sometimes I think about that. I be thinking that, since I don't have answers for her, that she haven't forgave me for whatever transpired, because at the end of the day, that is my child and I'm responsible for her. So sometimes it's just a on and off. Sometimes I feel cool, like, oh, I want to be around my sister this. Sometimes it's just like, I can't call her because then she probably don't think about it. It still sits in the back of my head, because that's my child and she could have lost her life, and I was going back and forth with. It was like, I felt like I lost everybody, like Regina King and Dita and KJ and her family too. So it was like, I don't know, I be having my ups and down days about it. But when she was in jail, for sure, the guilt was like there because it's my child, and at the end of the day, there was nothing I could say to her because I really didn't know what to say. And that was one reason why I appeared in court, because it was like, if I go in there and say, because I'm being arguing with people that's not really understanding, just saying it's my fault. And I just feel like if I would have went in there bitter like I was, she would not have been sitting here, because I would have been talking from how everybody else making me feel, and me not knowing how she feel, because I haven't spoken to her when she was in jail, besides the 2 times that she called me. I think KJ have like her days, you know, where is she entitled to feel that way? But then it just be like, what can I do? What can I say to like, so I just stay away. I feel like the only person, I felt like the only person that I had to conversate was with my kid's father, but then it's like, KJ always been the one. It's never really was him, it was the one. So I just, like I said, I have my ups and down days about it, because what I did learn is the bigger picture is it came from my family, so I made the phone call, that's my child, you know. I don't call because it's like in the back of my head, like, is she still thinking about, like, is it my fault? Like, do she want to keep her distance because I haven't gave her, like, I really don't know what to say.
I was happy as hell because, okay, when I found out KJ got released, I had called her mother's phone. Well, I knew it. It's like, it was an intuition, like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, the week before that she went to court, I thought she was leaving. I was upset when she came back. But this time, I just knew God wasn't finna let her come back. I was leaving in a week. And there wasn't no way I was leaving that jail without her. So I felt like, I just knew in my heart, God, he ain't finna keep her in here. And at this point, it's down to the nitty gritty. Like, I know if she come back this time, you know what I'm saying, it's bad. Like, why are they still holding her? So, and KJ was saying she was coming back to get her stuff. I got mad at her. I was saying, you coming back to get your stuff? Fuck this stuff. Like, you can get it later or whatever. So when I called her, they was like, she got released. I was like, I know she didn't get back on that bus, did she? Because, you know, if you go back to the jail to get released from there, you have to catch the bus and stuff back. But no, she didn't get back on the bus. I was happy because I just didn't want to see her back in there, period. So I was happy.
It made me feel so wonderful. I mean, it's like an angel came, you know, because the first one she had, she was really like, she already know she was just putting her away. She just know she did it. But the second one she had, they was fighting for her, and they fought for her. That's who God sent to fight for her, and they fought for her.
What happened
like,
to
yes.
you?
We couldn't holler. She was like, no, don't start hollering, because I want to say, yes, motherfucker, yeah, you know. So she said, then she walked back there, we said, yes, thank you, Jesus, like that. And then the judge was saying, that Jesus didn't have nothing to do with this or something. We was like, yes, he did. You better thank the Miss Dixon like that, and the prosecutor like that. I was like, thank you, I thank you. You was like, thank you, we love you. We were just like, thank you, Jesus. We just kept saying, you know, it was a happy day. That was a glorious day right there. Very good. I mean, I think I really got a decent sleep that night, knowing she was at home, yes. Knowing she was safe in good hands again, you know what I'm saying? So she had to start her life all over again, you know, but see what she's doing, she made the best of it. She is so wonderful. It's amazing. She has grown, you know, she life a different way, in a different aspect now, and everything she put her finger on to try to do, it works. It's coming through for her, you know? So God is good, and she's a very smart lady, you know? She's a very good lady. I'm not just saying that because that's my child, she is.
When they said they was gonna release her, it was like about 6 or 7 hours before they did, but I sat right outside that courtroom and waiting until she walked out the door. I was very eager to have her home.
Well, I can see how God has really changed KJ's life. KJ is a lot more, you know, the thing about Kijana is that she's always been like the peacemaker. And the whole reason she got in this situation, because she was trying to be a peacemaker. She was trying to keep people from fighting. She was trying to make peace where adults was acting like children. And it ended up, you know, backfiring her. So I think every good deed, another good deed is gonna replace it, So I think that's what she's reaping right now, is the good deeds that she does for her family. And, she's just a really good person. She didn't lose faith. Every time I would show up, with Mamie and Eddie and Calvin, she would be hopeful. And so then that made, everybody around her be like, okay, there's hope here, because she wasn't looking down and looking like, she was just the same person. She was the same KJ, she was polite and she carried herself, with dignity. So I think that's why she, prevailed.
I was like a character witness. I had no qualms about doing it. Just looking back at this letter that she wrote for me, she said, this is like an award for you for being a good teacher. And all I had to do was write the truth that I knew about her. So that's all I did.